All right, boys and girls, welcome back to the Maxi Canalla show for your daily World Cup coverage. Today, we're going to be reviewing the quarterfinals that we had today, which was Spain versus Belgium, and that determined one semifinal already. And then we're going to be previewing the next two matches that are coming up tomorrow. All right, so I want to talk about the changes Luis de la Fuente gambled on, and they decided the match, really. He put on Fabian Ruiz as a starter in place of Pedri, which was a surprise to me because Pedri is like a starter. You can't take him off ever, but Fabian Ruiz is a fantastic player. So this was the correct choice to do because Pedri has been having a lackluster World Cup so far. And Fabian Ruiz has shown great levels, especially in PSG, winning the Champions League again. So that really came as a decisive change. But for Belgium, there was also some changes in formation and lineup. We heard that before the match started, Tielemans actually got injured in a training session, so he was not able to start the match, which was a huge shock. And like I said in last episode, Tielemans is a fantastic player who controls the midfield, and I said he would be key. So this is a big loss for Belgium straight off the bat. But these changes would decide the beginning of the game at least. Fabian Ruiz scores at minute 30. Lamine Yamal sent a low cross into the box. Dani Olmo takes the shot, and Courtois saves it, but he leaves a rebound, and Ruiz reacted first, and he scores. But before the first half ended, Belgium equalizes. Castagne delivers a strong cross for De Ketelaere to get on the end of it, and he scores a really nice header. He puts it away in the bottom left. No chance for Unai Simon to get on the end of it. And like I said, De Ketelaere has had a wonderful performance this World Cup. He's very impressive, scored 3 goals so far. And halftime ends 1-1, tied Spain. Got shocked there at the end by Belgium, but they had more control overall. Like always, they had more control in the first half, but didn't create too much. They weren't too dangerous, so it ended up 1-1. At around minute 66, Courtois goes down with an injury, it looks like. And at minute 71, he gets subbed off because he couldn't continue. Courtois had a pretty good game. He was coming up with some decent saves, but they weren't too dangerous. Pretty routine for him. But this is a huge blow for Belgium, losing Courtois, one of the best goalkeepers in history and probably right now in the world the best goalie. So this was huge blow for Belgium, probably their best player on the field right now. But he comes off. Minute 71, Lamine replaces him in goal. And around minute 86, Mike Merino comes on for Dani Olmo. And 2 minutes later, at minute 88, Pau Cubarsí hits a long-range shot that Lamens failed to hold on to, spills a rebound, and that Merino gets to faster than anyone else and scores 2-1 at minute 88. He does it once again. Merino comes on and scores the winner for Spain. I think Unai Simon played bad. He had some really bad attempts to come out and intercept, and he left the goal wide open behind him with opportunities for Belgium to take it, and they didn't, fortunately for Spain. But terrible coming off of the line from Unai Simon. He left the goal wide open at least 2 times that I can remember in the game. But I think Cubarsí had some great actions, super solid in the back. I think Laporte also was super solid in the back today. Pedro Porro is probably becoming one of the best fullbacks in the world right now. And Merino comes on scoring again. What a wonderful World Cup from Merino. Like this is like what you dream of for as a kid, coming on to the World Cup and scoring a winner. But he's done it twice. He's done it twice now and in a row. He did it against Portugal. He's coming off of that to score another last-minute winner for Spain in the 88th minute versus Belgium to send them into semis. That's just incredible. What a dream for Merino right now. And for Belgium, I do want to highlight that they had some pretty decent performances. Like Castagna, I think, performed well. He sent the cross in for De Ketelaere to score, and he also defended pretty well. De Ketelaere obviously has a great performance in the World Cup overall, and in this game he scores. But most of Belgium's performers were lackluster. Their attack in general was very poor. They were only able to put up 5 shots and had only .37 expected goals in the match. Doku had a very bad performance. He had no threat for Spain, no end product, never beat his man in a dangerous area. And the same goes for Trossard, who didn't create anything near the box, no danger, didn't link with De Ketelaere or Lukaku when he was subbed on, and he obviously, Trossard gets subbed off for his poor performance. So this is what ended up getting Belgium eliminated from the World Cup, and Spain goes through 2-1 to face France off in one of the semifinals, which is set. This is going to be a rematch from the Euro 2024, which Spain beat France 2-1. So that's set to be a great match. But boys, I want to talk about tomorrow's matches. So let's start previewing Norway versus England. This is going to be a battle of the Titans. I feel like Norway... This is Norway's biggest match in the modern history. They come from beating Brazil in a historic performance, 2-1 with a brace from Haaland, while England survived a difficult battle against Mexico in the Azteca. Norway is an underdog and England are favorites. But Norway now can't be counted as the small team that doesn't offer much but got through somehow. They are a strong team now, and they cannot be underestimated. So the great matchups that I think are going to be had here is Erling Haaland versus Harry Kane, Martin Ødegaard versus Jude Bellingham. This is going to be a banger of a match. And, of course, the strikers are the headlines, but the match might be decided by the wings. Norway have good options like Nusa, Sorloth, and Schøldrup, who provided 2 assists versus Brazil, so... good on that. And England rotate through Saka, Madueke, Gordon, and Rashford on the wings, and haven't settled on a combo yet. But I think that's where the match might be decided. England's biggest concern, though, I think will be in defense. So containing Haaland is the biggest question mark. Who's going to do it? Gueye and Konsa are the expected center-back pairing. However, there's question marks around Gueye, who has been carrying a hamstring strain, and Kunashi, who was suspended for the red card against Mexico. So John Stones could also definitely be a pick for the starting lineup. But I think the way to stop Haaland is probably going to be stopping any service getting to him. So the midfield is going to have a heavy charge on that. I think Declan Rice will have to step up and shut down play. But this is really set to be a very exciting, fun, and awesome match. England versus Norway. Let's talk about Argentina versus Switzerland. So Argentina are still alive. Both knockout matches have been uncomfortable, stressful, emotional, and the worst thing but the best thing at the same time. But they were left with life. It seems that you need 100 bullets to kill Argentina because Argentina comes off that historical 3-2 comeback, super fired up. Messi's on fire, carrying Argentina, and the scenes after that match ended up being incredible. The players stayed on the field celebrating with the fans in the stands for about 2 hours, and then in the dressing rooms, the players celebrated with a new song for the World Cup, which I uploaded on the channel in a short. But let's talk about Argentina, how they could play versus Switzerland, and how they'll set up and form. So I believe Julian Alvarez has the edge over Lautaro Martinez to start because Julian's pressing could add some intensity that Argentina has been lacking a bit. I think in the last matches, a lot of high pressing has been lacking, intensity has been lacking, fast play has been lacking. So I think Julian has that edge over Lautaro, but I think Lautaro should probably come on in the second half. So like just how they did it versus Egypt. I also think Montiel will start over Molina. That's another versus that's happening right now. What I'm not sure about is if Switzerland crowd the middle like Egypt did, will Messi drift off to the right wing again? Because I think if he does, I'm sure Switzerland have prepared for that too. So Switzerland are very difficult to break down. Historically, they've been tight and hard to cause danger to. They reached their first quarterfinals since 1954 and just beat Colombia on pens. So they're also very strong coming off of the Colombia win. They're comfortable without the ball. They defend compactly. They're physically very strong, which Argentina struggles with historically. Big, strong European teams. And Argentina come from conceding 5 goals in 2 games. The defense is solid, but at the same time is shaky, especially when opponents attack in numbers and they attack by the wings. A big issue that Switzerland has is that Manzambi is still out with that knee injury that he faced before getting into the round of 16. So Switzerland's most dangerous player is reported to miss the match versus Argentina, which sucks for him. But Argentina need to work on the counterattacks that they face, the space left behind from the fullbacks, which I think is probably where we get our most danger from. I think this is why Scaloni might make some changes in the next match versus Switzerland. Paredes is going to stay on from last game because he played incredible. But I think Nico Gonzalez has a good chance of coming on as a starter instead of maybe De Paul. But taking out De Paul is insane. But he might do it because Argentina's lacking a lot of speed and they lack a lot of tracking back on the wings. So Gonzalez can add that for you because he's a very fast winger. And hopefully that can help in the back a bit. And I think that's why Montiel might come on too. But Molina's very fast. He might be able to do that, although he's been having a lackluster World Cup so far as well. But let's go into some history. The last time these two faced off in the World Cup was in 2014. That was when Argentina won in extra time. A goal from Angel Di Maria with a beautiful pass from Messi. But Switzerland made that game super difficult for Argentina. Suffering we went through. I remember watching that game super stressed out. And boys, I just need Argentina to win a match where we don't suffer too much. Just a little bit, but not too much. Hopefully we can go through without too much of a problem. Switzerland is a very strong opponent. But I hope we don't suffer too much like we did against Egypt or Cabo Verde. So hopefully we can go through to the semis without too much of an issue. But boys, that's going to be the end of the episode. What did you think about the Spain-Belgium game? And for tomorrow, England versus Norway, what do you think about that game? Who do you think is going to have the edge? And Argentina versus Switzerland, who do you think is going to have the edge there? Hopefully Argentina. But just let me know which one do you think is more hype and which ways Argentina can win versus Switzerland. How do you think Norway can win versus England? What can they do defensively? Let me know about that. But this is going to be the end of the episode. Thank you for listening to the Maxi Canalla show. Enjoy the football. And remember, Aguante Central, Aguante Argentina, Aguante USA. And I'll see you in the next one tomorrow, boys.